Good morning. That's a beautiful song, Linda. And you know, if that calls to you, yeah. Really, then if that calls to you, our Christmas Eve candle lighting service that's tomorrow night will be particularly interesting to you. Come and have a wonderful time with us. Everybody's welcome. I was just noticing how many guests we have today, so I thought before I launch into our topic, I'd just spend a moment introducing you to what it is we've been doing, because you could have the experience of walking in and feeling like, when you walk into a room and a conversation has already been taking place and you're trying to catch up fast. So I'll give you some catch up. We've been using this little book, The Hidden Power of the Bible. It's written by Ernest Holmes. Actually what it is, it's his commentary on certain important scriptures of the Bible. And we've been using that to guide our topics for the month, And one of the wonderful things about being in this particular faith tradition is you don't have to agree with the founder, even if you are the Ernest Holmes Award winner. Because sometimes I read and I go, you think that? And that's the lovely freedom, because each one of us has to find peace with our own spirituality and find our own way to celebrate in the end and enjoy each other's ideas. And so I'm reading through his commentary in the Old Testament, brilliant stuff to read, and then as it gets to the more recent scriptures, and I find that often the more recent the inspired work, the more time I need to really take it in. And so today's assigned reading is on page 136. But do you know that I didn't even get to the explanation of the scripture because I got all stuck on the opening line? And I mean stuck in a good way, because right here he says, without love, there is no hope. I didn't even go further. I went, I know that. Without love, there is no hope. I didn't even read the rest of the sentence. Without love, and I thought of all the ways that love shows up. Human love is so extraordinary. There is, companionship, so powerful. And then there is brotherly, sisterly love. And then there is the devotion that, we feel to a teaching or a teacher. Or there is, the passion of romantic love. And, it goes on. And I was thinking of all the times when that kind of love has had a beneficial impact on my being. Well, more than that, it's made the difference to me between surviving and not surviving. I've just thought of the ways love, when I've received it, has changed my life. And I was thinking about a pivotal time in my life when I was starting to study a little more deeply in metaphysics. I read the story, and I don't even know where I read it, or if it's just one of those legends and I'm recreating it. But it doesn't matter whether a story is true or not, as long as it's a good story and it inspires us into greatness. I'm fine with that. But it's the story of an experiment in a lab that went wrong. The idea was that there were these control groups, and the experiment was with rabbits. And unfortunately, the part that went wrong is the group of rabbits that were receiving whatever the chemical or whatever it was that was being injected into them, was that group was prospering and getting better and healthier and happier. In fact, even better than the group that was getting nothing. And then it was a security camera that revealed what was going on. It was late at night when the janitor was coming in. He was going through and taking each of the little bunny rabbits out and petting them and loving them. And somehow this affection and this love was rushing through them and messing up the experiment by bolstering their immune system. And I've never forgotten that, and the many stories that are like that. You've probably got a few of them in your own life, the experience of what love and affection and touching and caring can do for us. And even so, and even as great as that story is and how wonderful the reminder is, I've been sitting with this thought, and I've been particularly thinking about the other angle, the other side of it. Yes, certainly, receiving love has made a difference in my life, but the love that we give, there's a lot to be said for that. And so I sat with the phrase and rephrased it, and I wrote in my mind, without my loving, without me loving, there is no hope for me. And I've been sitting with that and saying, well, why might that be? Well, it's just an idea, and, I'm trying it on. Maybe it's true for you. And here's why I think it might be. I mean, there's this idea that keeps on recurring as I read the metaphysical literature and other scriptures. There's this idea that keeps on showing up for consideration, and it's this. It's that I suspect that love may be the only thing that we are capable of expressing. And that everything else isn't according to our nature. It's manufactured. It's created. And it takes a terrific amount of energy to produce it. I mean, particularly when I think of things like envy and jealousy and indignation and competition and pride and vanity, and I think it takes a terrific amount of energy to produce it, and it makes one so tired. So very tired. And I was thinking about that, and I thought maybe you've had this thought. Maybe you've at some time let yourself imagine what it might be like to truly let yourself be yourself. Completely. Utterly. I mean, without all of those things that are produced, looking good, disapproving of this, rejecting, trying to be accepted, gaining, reaching. I mean, imagine that. Who might you be? Well, who? You see, as I ask that question of myself, what I'm coming to is I don't really know. Because there is so much manufacturing going on that I'm not sure. Who might I be if I just let myself be myself? One thing I am clear on is that when I'm not doing this thing that I call the only thing we know how to do naturally, loving, that, when we are not doing that, why, it is a painful and hopeless world indeed. In the little book, he carries on, and I got just as stuck with this. He says, love itself, and this is really good, love itself is the urge of spirit to express itself. Now, sit with that. Love is the urge of God to express itself. And so sitting with that, I was thinking, love in this case, it's not just the affection that the janitor gives to the bunnies. It's not just the kindness that the stranger gives to the person asking for money in hard times. It's not only the caring and compassion that the volunteer gives through the organization for the world. It's not only the love that the parent feels for the child and the child feels for the parent. It's not even the passion and the commitment that the lover feels for the beloved. It's all of this, but in this context, the desire, the urge for spirit to express itself, it's much, 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 much more. So much more that we don't even have a word for it. We don't even have a name for it. We've tried. Bliss, I don't know, ecstasy, the great everything, God, passion, nirvana, revelation, I don't know. But more than that. I mean, if you're a visual person, I mean, maybe it's something like a festival of expression, an explosion of creation, of creative energy that is pouring itself out, lavishly, out of control, abundantly in every single direction without boundary.